95.1, 100.7 The Rock. This is The Rock Indie Show. I'm Theresa Leslie. So where's your favorite place to play?
Of all time, or?
Yeah, of all time.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Oh, we've had some really great... Well, I mean, the Fog Lounge is always a great place to play.
It's nice just because it's small and everything, so, like, you don't have to have a ton of people in there to have a really good vibe.
Yeah, you can sell it out easily.
We sell it out all the time, you know?
It's great.
Like, the one side of my family shows up and, you know, we sold the place out.
Exactly. Why was this event created?
Originally, the festival was started by myself and Benjamin Younghart. He's a filmmaker here in town. I'm an artist and a musician. I operate under the name Why Me. And I was looking to get my music out there. He was looking to get his films out there. And so we figured that, you know, bringing more people out together, it would create a bigger platform.
It became a great opportunity for other artists in the community to do their thing as well, alongside Murad and Ben.
And so we think that putting all these people together acts as a collective call.
We're hoping that people who like one type of music will also try it out and experience another kind.
Over 120 filmmakers, artists, musicians of every genre and medium imaginable.
Is there any like main themes to your songs?
Oh,
There's pretty much two different ends of the spectrum. Some are semi-political, sort of standing up to society kind of things, and then being ridiculously drunk and obnoxious. So it's almost like we're both ends of the social spectrum.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, it might sound, some of the songs might sound a little bit misogynistic at times, but that's not the intention at all.
More just a revelry in the good old days of rock and roll when it was just about, well, I guess that sounds misogynistic.
You were going to say sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I was going to say that. Oh, well.
How do you feel you guys work together as a band?
We work well together. The end product is always something we're all really happy with and proud of. I think like some conflicting personalities and stuff within the band is good for a band. I think it's good for the creative process. And I think we balance each other's like writing styles well. As like, you know, Kyle's this vast, unlimited resource for riffs. And then like Ryan is more focused on like traditional songwriting, like verse, chorus, verse kind of thing. Whereas, you know, Kyle would have more non-traditional songwriting. So they all kind of balance each other out. It's good.
I'm going to play Outdoor Muscle right now.
Sweet. Cool.
So why don't you intro the track?
The song titles have nothing to do with the songs. They're just funny. That's the best thing about not having a singer. You don't have to really put a meaning behind it. Just say it's cool. We did it. Listen. Have fun.
Yeah, we pretty much just party and say funny things, and those become our song names.
And who are some of the biggest influences for the music?
AC/DC.
Yeah, mostly.
In my opinion.
And the girl on that poster, the Chestronaut.
And how did you decide on the name, the Sean Connery Supergroup?
Sean he's a special man.
Sean Connery involves a sort of essence.
Manly essence.
Of coolness, yes, that doesn't exist anymore. We think that Connery has a certain parallel to old rock and roll in that it had balls in a certain way. And we try to bring these two things together in our music.
Makes perfect sense.
Right.
I've spent most of my life in Windsor, aside from a stint in Bell River during my childhood, and basically I just grow a lot of hair and make a lot of music, and people think that I'm insane because I grow a lot of hair and make a lot of music.
Definitely do make a lot of music.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed with how many albums you can release in 1 year.
Is it 28 now you have total or something?
29 as of today.
29 as
Oh,
of
wow.
today. I had played a song, actually the first track on the album, Factory Gates, for him, and it's sort of a song that I can't play on my own, so Johnny just sort of started noodling around on the Wurlitzer piano and stuff like that, and he said to me, you know, we should record that song, really cool to see where it goes. So one day, Halloween night, we did. Afterwards, I just thought, there's no way, like, I can't stop there. I have these songs, I have to work with Johnny more, I have to, you know, make a bigger project, and then this came out of it.
It's taken a long time, but I feel like we've gotten to a place where our recordings now match the energy that we have when we play live, which is a real challenge for a lot of bands.
Yeah, for sure.
Finally, it feels like with this new record, like we really captured the live feel that we do get when we play shows.
Put this music aside, I think you guys are having a lot of fun. I saw on your website you also got your tea leaves read.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun actually. Yeah, it was an idea that John had that we wanted to get like a psychic to, I don't know, give us any insight into how well the album was going to do. So I think, yeah, it was a good way to spend an afternoon.
Yeah, according to her, you're going to have 2 big hits. So.
That's right.
And why did you decide to make this album free for download?
First of all, It takes a lot of work to make all the CDs to sell them, and I have a lot of friends who aren't in Windsor who don't have access to the physical copies of the album. I figured it was a really quick way to pass on the information that we had this album, and I thought it was more important that people hear the music to me than me making a little bit of money off this record, which I recorded myself, so there wasn't much cost to begin with. So I really just wanted to spread this music to as many people as possible.
Yeah, that's really cool. You've got a show on May 14th at Fog. Why should we go out to that show? What do you promise to deliver?
I may or may not be wearing pants.
That's always exciting.
You said it.
And meant it. Okay, so why don't you guys describe the sound of the band?
I've heard people say lots of things. The latest thing I've been saying is a gypsy hillbilly dance party. I'm not sure that gives the right picture, though.
I like it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. I heard somebody write, if Tom Waits were to record with the Drive-By Truckers, that was very...
That's a compliment.
That one was very much a compliment. Yeah, totally.
First of all, why did you decide to start this magazine up?
We started it after the demise of a previous magazine called Upfront.
Mhm.
We assembled a small board of directors and realized what we want to achieve and develop a manifesto. And we wanted to be positive about everything. So if we write about something, we want to write positively about it. And if we don't like it, or we can't be positive about it for whatever reason, we just won't write about it, because that's no benefit to the community.
Oh, that's great.
And we just wanted to build community spirit.
How do you feel the magazine helps the Windsor scene?
We expose people to what's going on in the Windsor scene. So all the arts, all the theater, all of the music going on.
And you started out as a musician with your parents in the Cornhuskers?
Yeah.
So what was that like? And how old were you?
I started playing in the band when I was 6.
Oh, wow.
And my dad was the main drummer, but he would get up and play a couple sets every night, sing and play guitar. So I would fill in the first set on drums, and my brother would take the second because he was older and could stay up late enough. But yeah, so we played all down in like the Tilsonburg, Simcoe area, all down through that old tobacco country down there. So
That must have been the cutest thing ever to see you guys drumming.
yeah, it was. I didn't necessarily appreciate it maybe as a child because I think when you're young, you want to play rock and roll, you don't want to play country music.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was a pretty amazing way to grow up playing most weekends.
Do you think this CD will help with the Windsor scene?
I think it will, yeah. I think there's, we need a really cohesive foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great representation of the bands that are in the city. Very diverse. I tried to not pigeonhole it and just approach bands that I really enjoyed listening to and watching.
How do you feel the vibe in the music scene, the arts community is nowadays?
It's really, really strong. It's great. Like you go out to a place like Fog and you can see all kinds of different bands, even out of town bands, which I think helps to build momentum in the city as well. I mean, I've been doing this for 18 years and I always thought that there were really great musicians in the city.
Is it a new video for Jennifer?
It is.
It is new. I was talking to someone and they're like, no, I've seen that ages ago, but it's hilarious. I watched it. It's really, really good.
Thanks very much. The song is off the Wink and the Gun,
Yeah.
so the song is relatively old, but we just finally got around to releasing the music video this year. Thanks to Gavin Michael Booth, who directed and produced the video, and it turned out fantastic.
Well, he's been working, trying to get us to do that video for the better part of 3 or 4 years, and we were always like, I don't know if it's really that can be that great an idea. And the way it turned out was just absolutely fantastic.
It was genuine. All these women did not know that they were...
All these women had no idea. They signed a release saying that whatever footage we could use for the project or behind the scenes sort of thing.
So the listeners know basically they did auditions and then used that as their footage.
The reaction's been fantastic. We thought we'd get a few angry people, but the majority of the girls that I've seen or spoken with afterwards said it was great, fantastic, and they laughed about it. The bottom line, they're in a music video, so that's what they wanted in the first place.
Exactly, for sure.
I think one of the funnier things from it is when the music video got released, the girl still didn't know what the idea was, and we had heard back from a few people like, hey, my girlfriend was in the video, and I saw it before she did, and she had no idea about it.
So you guys are pretty young, eh? Like, how old are you?
I'm 16.
I'm 17.
I'm 16.
I'm 12.
I like how you guys laugh like you didn't know how
I'm
old you
really
were.
young.
No, it's just
funny to hear still.
Are you guys hoping to, make fame and fortune?
Fortune's, not the biggest thing, but we just want to make it as big as we can, and just my dream personally is to play in front of a crowd of thousands of people and just hear them sing our songs back to us.
It would be really nice to make a living off of it. Like, I don't necessarily want a fortune. I don't want to live in like a mansion in LA,
Yeah.
but
Hollywood's not for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It all full circle, full circle.
But I would definitely like to live off the music, and I would like to play big like arena shows.
Yeah.
Have bands opening for us.
Did you do some of the songs almost in one take?
Yeah, all of them.
Oh, all of them.
That was honestly, like before we went in to record, we spent a lot of time with the idea of the human element and what the human element is, and we really wanted to push ourselves to accomplish something 100% unique to the idea. So to be genuine, the only way to do that in the studio is basically hit record and play the songs exactly how we play them live.
We ended up titling it The Human Element because we wanted that human element back into the songs.
We find that when we go out and play live, like, there's things that we do to the songs organically, and that's what we really wanted to capture as well.
That's interesting. A flyer to create a band. So what did your flyer say?
I said progressive bassist wanted. Yeah, the one I put up St. Clair said progressive bassist wanted. But when I started out, I just put looking for members for a progressive metal band, and had looking for a guitar player, bass player, keyboard player, drummer, vocalist. So if you looked at it, you're like, okay, well, there's only one guy.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what made me answer the poster, because I saw that they were starting up a new project. I know a lot of bands aren't really looking for a female singer, especially in heavier kind of styles, but something I really wanted to do, so I'm like, okay, fresh start, here we go.
So you guys have pretty much been in many bands around Windsor. What made you want to start up this band? What was the intent?
It's a crooked storyline.
Well said.
Good one. This guy's good.
Plug.
It's a long history of hanging around with friends and just enjoying each other's company and playing music at the same time. And it's kind of been, over the last several years, it's by now it's almost a completely different group of people than we began with. But it's really just always been about hanging out and having fun and making music together and seeing what happens.
And the other band, which is kind of like, I have this pride, this great sense of pride that they're playing the festival, is Explode When They Bloom. These guys haven't done a show in well over 6 months, and there's a potential that, is this their last show, or is this the show that's going to propel them into doing more with one another? That's kind of up in the air.
Let's hope the same.
I hope they keep going. I love this band. Like, they're a lot of fun, just feel good, rock and roll, loud stuff again. I'm really happy about this lineup. It's like, I can't believe I got them all to say yes.
Who would be one artist or band that made you want to be a musician?
Holy cow. I'm going to have to go with Bryan Adams.
Really?
Bryan Adams is my hero. He's always been ever since I was probably, I'm going to say 7-ish.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, watching a music video or hearing a song on the radio?
Yeah, just hearing his voice. I'm actually not a big fan of the stuff that's on the radio, the big hits. He's got better stuff than that, and nobody knows about that. So when I say Bryan Adams, people are like, dude, really? Everything I do it for you? I'm like, well, he wrote other songs. Exactly. He wrote other songs, and he's a great singer, and he's aged really well. He's in his 50s now, and his voice is just...
Oh, I thought you meant his face.
Sure, he's a good-looking guy. I'm hetero enough to say Bryan Adams is a good-looking guy. There, I said it.
And do you guys have a favorite live experience so far?
I do. I like to say one. It was our second performance ever. And we ended up going on really late for some reason, and we all ended up drinking a lot, and that's probably the first and last time when we were all be collectively drunk on stage and missing cues and stuff. It was quite an experience to actually do that. But now we kind of tailor till after the show, so we don't get
some
too...
of us do.
Some of you, yeah.
I think that was also the first show where Star Trek played.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the first show at FM we did.
Yeah. So what happens, we wanted to play with the villains, and not all the members could play. So James put together like a super group, and he called it Star Trek.
There was lots of dropped
show.
picks and dropped drumsticks that day. It was a great experience. Good thing hardly anybody was there on that one.
So I'm assuming that you folks consider yourself a pretty political band. One, why did you choose music to express yourself, I guess? And two, why do you feel ska or funk is a good platform for it?
A few of us have like political science and history backgrounds, and it's one of the few things you can do is play punk rock music with that with those degrees. And I think it's safe to say we're all very frustrated with a lot of things that are going on, and things are just really messed up right now in the world, and especially in certain areas and cities like Windsor. So it's a good outlet to vent some frustration and try to get people thinking about things that they usually wouldn't think about when they're checking out local music.
All of our opinions come out on paper. The lyrics that we sing and or shout, that's our outlet. That's what we're good at, and that's how we say what we want.
Now, when you're saying that there are things wrong with the city, do you try to take a positive spin on them and offer solutions as well?
Yeah, absolutely. This last record was very focused around like labor issues and the decline of like, unions and manufacturing in the city that was built up around that.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we're kind of taking a political spin with regards to a city like Windsor is because we want things to get better, because we like Windsor. We're not just saying things are screwed up and we want to get out of here. We want things to get better.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, we're not here to sugarcoat issues, but at the same time, we're not going to hold our tongues.
As advocates for the Windsor music scene, what would you say makes us unique?
I think it is our diversity. I mean, I think the fact that we're so close and we've been brought up in Detroit, we have a far greater appreciation for multiple forms and genres of music. So people are a little more adventurous to experiment in crossing genres. With Windsor being a really working class city that always seems like we're on the verge of collapse somehow, socially and economically, that there's almost a certain amount of desperation. People turn to music to create and to get rid of the doldrums of their daily life, and I think Windsor has that.
The one thing I noticed when I moved here is that the music scene is very cooperative. Because of the state, socially, economically, and whatnot, bands are closer to each other. You don't get that sense of competition between bands. They're helping each other out. That's why
each other.
We always jammed for a long time, but just never actually wrote songs.
And what about the brothers? How long have you been jamming together?
On and off for like, I don't know. We started playing instruments maybe
10 years ago.
Yeah, so it's funny. My brother always said to me, oh, there are bands with brothers together, but you'll never be in one of those bands, so keep on dreaming. But here we are now in studio, so eat it up, Richard.
Well, as a Canadian musician who's actually made music a career, what advice would you give to other musicians listening who are trying to do just that?
Oh, you better only do it because you love it, because the trials and tribulations are many and the rewards are few. You can do it. I've been very fortunate to make a living at it, and I live quite comfortably. That's cool, but in the music business, every day is still a struggle, and that never stops. It doesn't ever get really easy. You still have to really have a love for it, because, man, you'd never stick with it if you didn't.
I think for me, at least personally, like when I was in a band when I was younger, like in my early 20s, it was kind of like an all or nothing type experience, and we were lucky enough to have some success. But when that kind of faded away for different reasons, and then I came back to Windsor and just said, well, you know what, I want to play music because it's fun. And it took me a while to figure out that, like, you can play music, be creative, and do lots of cool things, but it doesn't mean you have to do that exclusively. So once we kind of wrapped our heads around that, I think it kind of became a lot easier.
It's funny, I'm like the opposite. I've been in a band for like 5 years in which we're just doing it for fun. I kind of starting to learn from Dave emotional aspects, how to do it on a little bit more of a formal basis. To learn from someone who's been in the next level, it's kind of more of like an eye-opening experience.
Round the Old Piano started
October or November?
Yeah. So Devin, our guitar player extraordinaire, has a wonderful job where he does a lot of video work. And for practice and jokes, we were like, oh, let's shoot something Round the Old Piano. So it turned into Round the Old Piano. And we just try to tell people about cowboys and cardigans. But it's exciting to be able to do that because it does give you another way to reach people.
It brings another level to the band. You guys look like you really get along.
Yeah, we actually do. That's a special thing about this band. When you find a bandmate that really does care about what you're doing, don't let go of that. Mm-hmm. Be good to each other. And we have a blast.
Should you guys hug?
Right now?
Right now. There was a really cute squeak in there, too. Something squeaked. I don't know what it was.